look at your credit card statement, I mean, beyond the daily coffees,
Yeah.
you'll likely see this growing list of recurring charges, right? Netflix, Spotify, maybe a fitness app, or that meal kit delivery you can't quite quit.
They add up.
What if I told you this isn't just like a collection of convenient apps, but it's actually evidence of a business transformation, maybe as profound as the Industrial Revolution itself?
It's really true. This isn't some fleeting trend. It's a fundamental re-architecture of how businesses create and deliver value. It's huge.
So today we're doing a deep dive, unpacking the subscription economy.
Right. We're drawing key insights from Tzuo's foundational book, Subscribed. It really paved the way for understanding this whole monumental shift.
Exactly. Our mission here is basically to give you a shortcut, get you well informed about this pivotal moment in business history. We'll pull out the most important nuggets about how companies are moving from selling like static one-time products
to delivering ongoing, evolving services. It's a completely different game.
Get ready to rethink how value is created and consumed. This changes, well, pretty much everything. Okay, so let's think back. For over a century, businesses operated on what we might call an asset transfer model.
Right. Design, build, sell, ship. Done.
Exactly. They designed, built, sold, shipped physical products. Those all sales final signs you used to see?
Oh, yeah.
Think Henry Ford's assembly line. I mean, it was brilliant for maximizing efficiency, right? Model Ts were only black because that was the only paint that dried fast enough.
That's efficiency for you.
But that whole system treated the product as the sole governing principle. There's minimal insight into the actual customer using it.
And if you kind of zoom out a bit, this relentless focus on productivity, just moving units. I mean, it was incredibly successful for a long time, but it ultimately came at the expense of the relationship.
The relationship between the vendor and the customer, you mean?
Precisely. When complaints inevitably popped up, corporate America's typical solution was just to, set up new vertical silos.
Like customer service departments.
Yeah, exactly. Often totally isolated, metaphorically speaking, like just past the loading dock. They weren't really integrated into the core business at all.
Okay, fast forward to today. Everything feels different, doesn't it?
Completely.
Our credit card statements are just bursting with these digital charges. Your work desktop probably looks way simpler now, running cloud-based apps that just update themselves.
No more install disks.
It's clear the world is moving from products to services. Consumers increasingly prefer access over ownership.
Yeah.
Think about it. So many big box retailers from our youth, Circuit City, Blockbuster.
Gone. Just gone.
So what really propelled this monumental shift? What was the trigger?
Well, it seems to be driven mainly by three big forces. First, the commercial internet, which is, roughly 20 years old now. Then the iPhone, just over a decade old, completely changed expectations.
Yeah.
And third, these fundamental changes in how companies think about IT infrastructure. Cloud computing, basically.
And pioneers like Salesforce and Amazon, they didn't just talk about putting the customer first.
No, they took it a huge step further. They established direct, ongoing relationships with subscribers, not just, anonymous customer segments or demographics. Real people, real relationships.
That shift has fascinating implications, especially for financial predictability. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about the old Hollywood economics model. You pour millions into making a movie.
And just pray it's a hit.
Exactly. Total gamble. But a company with, say, 80% subscription revenue, they can start the year knowing that 80% of their projected revenue is already kind of in the bank.
Wow. That offers an incredible level of stability. Must make planning way easier.
Hugely easier. Allows for much more strategic, long-term thinking.
Okay, let's look at some industries. Retail. You hear all these headlines, right? Brick and mortar retail is dying.
Yeah, constantly.
And it's true. Over 7,000 stores closed in 2017 alone. That beat the 2008 recession record. But the real issue isn't just e-commerce versus traditional stores, is it?
No, not really. The striking contrast is how companies like Amazon and Walmart illustrate the difference in thinking.
How so?
Well, Walmart, for decades, thought like a classic product company. Its stores existed purely to sell items off shelves.
Okay.
Amazon, though, they start with the customer. They track your order history. They give you smart recommendations. They're entirely focused on putting you, the customer, first. It's a totally different philosophy.
And what does that philosophy mean for us, the consumers? I mean, even Apple.
Right. Apple, famous for its sleek devices, is now heavily prioritizing service revenue. It hit over $31 billion in 2017, growing at like 27% a year.
That's huge.
And Goldman Sachs even floated the idea of an Apple Prime subscription, maybe $50 a month for guaranteed phone upgrades. Apple TV, Apple Music.
So Apple's focusing more on the revenue they get from each Apple ID, not just how many iPhones they ship.
Exactly. It's a shift in their core metric.
That makes sense.
And it raises a great point about, the modern Book of the Month clubs. These new subscription box companies, Birchbox, Dollar Shave Club,
Yeah, I know those.
they aren't just selling you stuff. They're designed to be customer first, and they actually get smarter over time by learning what you like.
Unlike the old days, like Columbia House.
Precisely. Columbia House relied on those sneaky negative option tricks, right?
Yeah.
Unclear billing, impossible to find cancel buttons.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah. It's why consultants like Robbie Kellman Baxter wisely say, make it easy for customers to leave if they want to.
Mm.
That builds trust, ironically, and
Yep.
keeps the happy ones longer.
That's counterintuitive, but makes sense.
Yeah.
And what's really wild is how physical stores are changing. They're becoming more like showrooms.
Totally. Look at Warby Parker.
Well.
Their physical stores average an incredible $3,000 per square foot in sales.
How?
Because 75% of the shoppers visited their website first. They know what they want, they just want to touch it or try it on.
Okay.
Or Bonobos guide shops. You try stuff on, but they don't hold inventory. They just ship it to you later.
Oh.
Frees up expensive retail space.
Smart.
Even ancient companies. Husqvarna, founded 329 years ago, now offers a battery box. It's like a tool library. Pay a flat monthly fee, get access to hedge trimmers, chainsaws, no ownership hassle.
So it's not about owning the tool, but having access when you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Fender CEO said, it's about helping people be a guitar player, not just own a guitar. Focus on subscribers, focus on engagement. Hashtag media into the golden age.
Okay, let's switch gears to media. Remember the old golden age of Hollywood? Studios churned out films, the music industry needed huge hits to pay for all the flops.
Oh, yeah. A very different world. Then the internet and file sharing came along.
Napster.
Right. And it completely freaked everyone out in the industry. They thought it was the end.
But it wasn't, was it?
No. Then a few smart startups found a new path. They just made it easier to get media online legally through streaming.
Netflix, Spotify.
Exactly. Netflix went from basically 0 to 100 million streaming subscribers in 10 years. Spotify now accounts for over 20% of global music industry revenues.
So they didn't just digitize. They offered a better, more reliable business model.
Much more reliable. Recurring revenue instead of the constant gamble on hits and misses.
Okay, so how does that work behind the scenes? Like Netflix investing crazy money in original shows.
Right. They spend, what, $50 to $60 million on a new season of GLOW or Godless?
Yeah, something like that.
But they aren't really selling those shows in the traditional sense. The goal is to attract new subscribers and, crucially, extend the lifetime of the ones they already have. Keep them hooked.
It's a portfolio effect then. Drives down the cost of getting new customers and increases how much each subscriber is worth over time.
You got it. And what's particularly compelling is the rise of all these niche streaming services. SVOD's subscription video on demand.
Like Crunchyroll for anime.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Started as a piracy site, believe it or not, then went legit. Invested in content, built a real community around anime fans. It worked. Similarly, you have Daisy N trying to be the Netflix of sports.
Yeah.
They're actually winning major sports broadcasting rights away from traditional cable companies in international markets.
For how much?
Around $20 a month. It really shows that, 1,000 niche Netflixes can bloom, catering to very specific passions.
So what does this mean for, like, my cable bill? Everyone talks about cord cutting. Is that bad for the cable companies?
Well, it might sound bad, but you could argue it's actually the best thing that ever happened to the cable industry. It's forcing them to shift. They can't just sell a static bundle of channels anymore. They have to leverage their amazing infrastructure, the pipes, into our homes and their skilled workforce to offer totally new digital services.
Like becoming the operating system of the connected home, managing smart alarms, appliance installations, that kind of thing.
Exactly. That's a huge potential market for them.
Okay, and what about music?
Well, over 30 million people in the U.S. now pay for music streaming. That's more than half the entire U.S. music business revenue now. And, Prince was way ahead of his time, his NPG Music Club, back in 2001.
I remember hearing about that.
He offered new music, concert access, even an audio show, basically a podcast, to build a community directly with his fans. Total subscription model.
And even how music is made is changing, like Kanye West's album.
Right. The Life of Pablo. He treated it like software, like a minimum viable product. He kept tweaking lyrics, changing the song order after it was released, based on listener feedback.
Continuous iteration for music. That's wild.
It shows how deep this thinking goes. Hashtag tag transportation, the end of car ownership.
Okay, next up. Transportation. This one feels big. You can now subscribe to a car, like a Hyundai Ioniq for $275 a month, or even a Porsche for $2,000 a month.
Yeah, and these aren't just leases with a fancy name. They often offer flexible access to a range of vehicles. Maintenance and insurance are usually included.
And you can often do it month to month.
Sometimes, yeah. Much more flexible than a typical lease or purchase.
Oh. And then there's ride sharing. Uber, Lyft. They have what, over 60 million riders? That's fundamentally changed how people think about getting around, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And while it's not always a fixed monthly fee, Uber feels like a digital subscription service, doesn't it?
How do you mean?
It knows your ID, your payment info, your usage history. It even knows your favorite music if you link it with Spotify.
True.
And now both Uber and Lyft are testing actual flat-rate subscription plans to build that deeper, long-term customer loyalty.
Lyft even talked about a $500 monthly plan for unlimited transportation, like a sports bar on wheels for your commute.
Yeah, they're throwing ideas out there. It shows the direction of travel, pardon the pun.
So what's the big picture here? Is car ownership really ending?
Well, the accepted wisdom in Silicon Valley is that as cars become essentially cell phones on wheels, the software and the services are going to be more important than the hardware itself.
Like infotainment, navigation, diagnostics.
Yes, exactly. Gartner predicted 250 million connected cars by 2020. Digital diagnostics, navigation, all that stuff becoming a massive $270 billion industry.
So legacy car companies, they risk becoming like, I don't know, IBM in the PC era, losing control of the user experience to tech giants like Apple and Google.
That's the fear, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why Ford, for example, is working hard on things like its Ford Pass app.
What does that do?
It aims to offer seamless services warming up your car remotely, reserving parking spots at a time, trying to own that relationship.
Right. Keep the customer in their ecosystem.
Exactly. And to put this in a wider context, even the airline industry, often mocked for shameless fee charging, could shift. Imagine a flat annual frequent flyer membership. Maybe includes a co-branded Uber ride to the airport, your entertainment pre-selected expedited security.
Like a seamless travel subscription.
Precisely. It's about mobility planning.
Yeah.
Look at Helsinki's Whim app. It mixes public and private transport, buses, trains, taxis, bikes, all in one monthly subscription.
And young people find that normal.
Totally natural and appealing, apparently. Access, not ownership. Hashtag manufacturing the Internet of Things.
Okay, this one might surprise people. Manufacturing. You wouldn't necessarily think subscriptions here.
Right, but it's on the verge of its own kind of quiet revolution, thanks to the Internet of Things or IoT.
Sensors in everything.
Pretty much. Companies are quietly investing huge amounts to put sensors into doors, pipes, tires, even shoes. By 2020, the prediction was billions of these smart, connected devices.
So the critical question is, what happens when all these products start collecting and sending back massive amounts of data?
Exactly. It enables manufacturers to shift from just selling physical products
to delivering outcomes.
You got it. Take Komatsu, the construction equipment company, founded way back in 1921.
Okay.
They now offer smart construction. They use drones to survey job sites in minutes, run thousands of simulations, and then deploy semi-autonomous excavators and bulldozers optimized for that specific job. Or look at Caterpillar. Their Cat Connect solutions monitors heavy equipment constantly. It can predict maintenance needs before something breaks down.
Saving huge amounts of money, I bet.
Totally. Reducing a potential $650,000 breakdown to maybe a $12,000 preventative repair. It's basically dirt removal as a service.
That's fascinating. And GE uses digital twins. What's that?
Yeah, it's really innovative. They create exact virtual replicas, digital twins of their wind turbines, jet engines, oil rigs.
Okay.
And these twins display exactly how the real-world machine is operating in real time. Engineers can literally see wear and tear, spot potential trouble long before it happens. This whole industrial internet is transforming how things are made and maintained.
So it's moving beyond just making the thing.
Way beyond. Look at Air Electronics. They used to be just a parts warehouse. Now they offer value-added services.
Like what?
Using sensors on kitchen equipment in restaurants to create responsive menus based on inventory, or even building automated mousetraps that report back data.
Automated mousetraps. Okay.
Or in Sweden, this company, Ingenic, sells a smart thermostat. Yes, it saves on heating costs, but it also does arbitrage.
Arbitrage with electricity.
Yeah. In Sweden's deregulated market, it buys electricity automatically when rates are lowest. The value isn't just the thermostat, it's the information generated by the connected device and the services built on top.
And this isn't just for new tech companies, right? Old manufacturers are doing this too.
Absolutely. Schneider Electric, founded 1836, tracks elevator usage to optimize utility bills for building owners. Heidelberg Druckmaschinen, founded 1850, remotely monitors 25,000 printing presses around the world.
So manufacturers are becoming really intimately tied to their customers by providing their products as a service.
That's the core shift. It's a continuous relationship, not a one-off sale.
Okay, so let's say you're convinced your company needs to shift to subscriptions. But internally, that sounds like it could cause a massive, well, the book calls it a WTF moment, right?
Haha. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Imagine your marketing team is furious about losing the big splashy launch days. Your IT department sees all their recent ERP investments suddenly looking obsolete. In finance, they see quarterly revenue potentially tanking in the short term as you transition.
Ouch. That sounds like a nightmare to manage.
It is. Which brings us to the question, how do you even start to dismantle these deeply ingrained product cultures, these assembly line mentalities with strict silos between departments?
Yeah, where sales sells it, manufacturing makes it, and service fixes it, but they barely talk.
Exactly. A true subscription culture demands that every single part of the organization is aligned and dedicated to making sure the customer keeps succeeding over the long haul.
It's not just ship it and forget it anymore.
Not at all. It's a complete paradigm shift. Hashtag tag innovation staying in beta forever.
So when companies actually launch their first SaaS, offering software as a service, or they start tracking customer purchases properly, they suddenly get this incredible visibility, don't they?
Oh, yeah. They can literally see what their customers are doing through real-time dashboards. It's often eye-opening.
Like Google Gmail being in perpetual beta for years.
Exactly. That showed the power of treating your product not as a finished thing, but as a living, breathing experience.
You can enlist your customers as constant innovation partners, basically. Iterate with them.
Precisely. And what's compelling is how this idea spreads. We talked about Kanye West treating his album, The Life of Pablo, like a minimum viable product.
Right, tweaking it after release.
He was shortening his product development cycle through real-time experimentation based on listener feedback.
Okay.
Or look at Gray's, the UK snack box company. They have what they call an agile factory.
Agile factor.
Yeah. They launched in the US with basically no market research. They just dumped their existing UK product line over here.
Risky.
And their system automatically adjusted the product mix based purely on U.S. customer feedback and purchasing data. The system learned.
Wow. And Netflix does this too, right? Using data to decide what shows to buy or renew.
Totally. Instead of relying on old-school pilots or test audiences, they look at the actual viewing data. What keeps people subscribed?
So what's the takeaway here? Think about your Starbucks ID.
Good example.
It tracks what you buy, your preferences. That lets them greet you by name at the drive-thru, maybe suggest your favorite pastry. It feels personal.
It does. Companies are increasingly building these subscriber IDs, just like Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple have. And you could see this extending soon to big consumer brands like Coke or Nike.
Creating incredibly personalized experiences based on that direct relationship.
That's the goal. Hashtag tag marketing, rethinking the 4 Ps.
Okay, marketing. Quick, when you think marketing, what comes to mind? Maybe glossy Super Bowl ads. Don Draper from Mad Men.
Yeah, the classic images.
The traditional 4 Ps, product, price, promotion, place, they were all built for selling discrete units, right? One-off sales.
Absolutely. Designed for that asset transfer model we talked about.
But when product becomes service, that whole playbook has to change, doesn't it?
Completely. And a really striking aspect here is that today, brands are communicated more through experiences than just ads.
What do you mean?
Well, the best sales pitch for Netflix isn't a billboard, is it? It's the actual experience of binge-watching a great show you love. That's what gets people talking and signing up.
Okay. The product is the marketing, in a way.
In large part, yes. And for marketing departments, the real goldmine isn't buying expensive third-party demographic data anymore. It's the direct customer insights they get from those subscriber IDs we just mentioned.
Because they know exactly what real customers are doing.
Precisely. Way more valuable.
So what about place? The distribution channel. That used to be crucial, right? Retailers, resellers.
Right, and they often own the customer relationship. But with subscriptions, manufacturers can build that direct one-to-one connection themselves.
Does that mean cutting out the middleman?
Not necessarily. Look at Autodesk, the software company. When they shifted to subscriptions, they didn't cut out their resellers.
No.
No, they actually doubled down on them. They invested heavily in educating them about the subscription model, shared invaluable user data with them to create a win-win-win ecosystem. Autodesk wins, the resellers win because they can offer better service, and the customer wins. It's about partnership, not just disintermediation.
Interesting.
And putting this into a wider context, pricing and packaging becomes arguably the most powerful growth lever in a subscription business.
More powerful than, say, sales or marketing.
Often, yes. Unlike traditional product pricing, which is often just cost plus markup.
Right.
With subscriptions, you're pricing an outcome or access to value. It's definitely more complex. But getting it right makes customer acquisition easier and dramatically reduces churn. It creates this amazing virtuous cycle.
So it's about picking the right value metric, like charging per user seat or per minute used or per data processed.
Exactly. What aligns best with the value the customer actually receives. And then you have to test relentlessly, constantly iterate on pricing and packaging. Hashtag sales 8 new growth strategies.
Oh, wait. Sales. In the old world, sales was kind of mission accomplished after the deal closed, right? Ring the bell, move on.
Pretty much.
Love
Get
that.
the signature on the dotted line.
But in the subscription economy, it sounds like it's about cultivating a long-term relationship. You're never off the hook, as the book says.
That's a great way to put it.
Mhm.
The sale is just the beginning of the journey, not the end.
So the critical question becomes, how do you actually grow in this new world? It can't just be about selling more units or jacking up the price per unit anymore.
No, the old levers don't work the same way. There are 3 new imperatives, really. 1, acquire more customers. 2, increase the value of the customers you have.
Mhm.
And 3, hold on to them for longer, reduce churn.
Okay.
And that first step, acquiring your initial set of customers, is crucial. You have to do it carefully, prioritizing quality over just quantity. Because, as the saying goes, you become your customers. The wrong early customers can pull you in the wrong direction.
Right. Get the foundation right, then what?
Then you absolutely must tame your churn rate. That churn number, the percentage of customers who leave, is maybe the most critical health metric. Getting it under control signifies the transition from just being a cool new service to becoming a mature, successful business.
Once churn is stable, then you can scale the sales team.
Exactly. Expand strategically, often using hybrid sales models,
What's that?
like DocuSign does. They have a free or low-cost self-service option that funnels users in, and then sales reps can identify promising accounts and upgrade them to paid business plans. You use automation where it makes sense, humans where you need the relationship.
Smart. And you also have to relentlessly cross-sell, add more value.
Constantly, by continuously adding new services and features that existing customers will want. New Relic, the software monitoring company, is great at this. They often get adopted by developers first, bottom up, and then expand usage across the whole organization.
Makes sense. What else?
Well, companies also need to launch into new segments, like Clear Airport Security started focused on business travelers, then expanded to families and sports fans.
Widen the net.
Right, and obviously, go global. You can even test new international markets by initially just letting foreign customers transact in US dollars before you fully localize. See if there's demand.
Lower risk way to test the waters.
Exactly. Maximizing growth from acquisitions is also key. SurveyMonkey is a good example. They acquired 6 different companies to quickly expand their offerings and grab more market share.
Buying growth, essentially.
Yeah, when done strategically.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, and maybe most powerfully, as we touched on with marketing, you must constantly optimize your pricing and packaging.
Back to pricing again?
It's that important. It's shocking, but the book says most companies spend less than 10 hours a year thinking about pricing strategy.
Wow, really?
Yeah, but it's the single most impactful growth lever you have. It's about constantly testing the market with new tiers, new value metrics, new bundles. Companies like Invoca manage really complex usage-based pricing that updates dynamically across all their systems.
That takes sophisticated systems, I bet.
It does. And just to underscore the importance of growth, McKinsey warns that if a software company grows less than 20% annually,
Yeah.
it has a 92% chance of failing within 3 years. It really is grow or die in this space. Hashtag finance the new business model architects.
Okay, finance. I think we've all been in meetings where finance presents the numbers. Maybe revenue is down, but margins are improving. And it somehow feels like a killjoy to the grand vision for growth, right?
Yeah, finance can sometimes feel like the Department of No. That's often because the traditional income statement is fundamentally backward-looking and totally focused on units sold.
So how does finance adapt to subscriptions?
Well, there's what the book calls the subscription economy income statement. It's a different way of looking at the numbers. And a really striking aspect is where it starts and ends.
Instead of net income.
Right. Instead of starting with revenue and ending with net income, which looks backward, this framework starts and ends with annual recurring revenue, ARR.
ARR. Okay, why is that key?
Because ARR looks forward. It represents the predictable, ongoing revenue stream you expect from your existing subscriptions. It's what you can build on.
And it accounts for customers leaving, right? Churn.
Absolutely crucial. It explicitly accounts for churn to calculate net ARR. That's the ARR from existing customers, minus the ARR lost from churn, plus any ARR gained from upgrades or expansion within that existing base. That's the number you can truly bank on.
That sounds like it gives much better visibility.
Unprecedented predictability, really. And it allows you to define costs differently, too. You separate recurring costs, what it takes to service your existing customers, from growth costs.
Like sales and marketing.
Exactly. Growth costs, like S&M, are treated more like capital expenditures investments you make today to generate future recurring revenue.
Okay, how does this translate for, someone running a business? What does it let you do?
Well, this framework reveals why it's perfectly rational, even smart, for subscription businesses to spend all their profits, or even operate at a loss initially, purely on growth.
As long as
their bucket doesn't leak too much, meaning as long as churn is under control. Because as tech analyst Ben Thompson notes, you're essentially creating annuities with a lifetime value. You're buying future recurring profit streams.
So the focus shifts from short-term profit to long-term value creation.
Precisely. And CFOs in this world use metrics like the Growth Efficiency Index, or GEI.
What's that measure?
Basically, how many new ARR dollars do you get for each dollar you spend on sales and marketing? It lets you precision engineer your growth. You can see which channels, which customer segments are most profitable to acquire in the long run. It makes growth spending way less opaque than old-school marketing budgets.
So finance isn't just counting beans anymore.
Not at all. In this model, they really become the business model architects. They're helping design the engine for sustainable growth using dynamic, fluid frameworks, not just static annual budgets. This shift really accelerated after the 2008 downturn, forced everyone to get smarter about financial resilience. #tag IT subscribers, not SKUs.
All right, let's talk IT. Traditionally, IT was all about efficiency, right? Rolling out big, complex ERP systems, enterprise resource planning like Oracle or SAP.
Yeah, huge monolithic systems designed to manage inventory, orders, financials, very linear processes.
Okay, but the book argues these linear order-to-cash systems actually create chaos in the dynamic world of subscriptions. Why?
Because subscriptions aren't linear. Customers upgrade, downgrade, pause, add features, change payment methods all the time. These old ERPs just weren't built for that kind of constant flux.
So you can't easily change the subscriber experience, or change pricing quickly, or even get a single view of what a customer is doing across different products.
Exactly. You end up with messy workarounds, duplicate data, frustrated customers, and blind spots for the business. It becomes a real bottleneck.
So what's the solution? What does IT need to look like in a subscription company?
IT organizations need to evolve towards a circular architecture. And the crucial difference is putting the subscriber ID right at the center of everything.
Instead of the product SKU or the sales order.
Precisely. When the subscriber is the central entity, everything else revolves around them. This enables incredibly rapid launches of new services or pricing models.
Like the Financial Times example, leveraging flexibility around Brexit news.
Yeah, they could spin up new offers almost instantly because their systems were built around the subscriber.
Yeah.
It also provides incredibly deep business insights.
How so?
Because you have a single source of truth about each subscriber. It allows Netflix to confidently justify spending $8 billion on original content because they see exactly how it impacts subscriber acquisition and retention. Or it allows Slack to proactively give credits for inactive users on a team.
Why would they do that?
Because they have direct line of sight into customer behavior and value. They know building goodwill and ensuring fairness drives long-term loyalty, which is worth more than squeezing out a few extra bucks in the short term.
So IT isn't just about keeping the lights on or deploying SAP slightly better than your competitor anymore.
Not at all. Today, IT is often where companies truly compete. It's the engine room where you spin up new services, set up A/B tests for pricing, iterate on the customer experience, and scale globally.
It's about finding the freedom to grow by focusing on the dynamic needs of subscribers, not static products or SKUs.
You nailed it. That's the core IT transformation.
Okay, so we've talked about finance, IT, sales, marketing, but ultimately making this huge shift from being product-centric to subscriber-centric. It isn't just about technology or changing org charts, is it? It sounds like it requires a really deep cultural transformation, getting rid of those old silos.
Absolutely. That's perhaps the hardest part. And Zuora, Tien's company, developed a framework to help think about this called the Padre operating model.
Padre, P-A-D-R-E.
Yeah, it's basically an integrated framework of 8 subsystems, all designed to keep the customer squarely at the center through their entire lifecycle with you.
Okay, break it down for me. What do the letters stand for?
Sure. The first 5 are customer-facing stages. P is for pipeline building market awareness, generating leads. A is for acquire, guiding the buyer's journey, closing the initial deal.
Okay, P.
D is for deploy, getting the customer successfully set up and running with your service. This is often overlooked, but critical. R is for run, ensuring their ongoing daily success and engagement with the service.
Making sure they're actually using it and getting value.
Exactly. And E is for expand, driving retention, upselling, cross-selling, and turning happy customers into advocates.
Pipeline, acquire, deploy, run, expand. Got it. Those are the customer-facing parts. What about the other 3 subsystems?
Those are the crucial back-of-the-house enablers. P for people hiring, developing, and retaining the right talent with a subscriber-first mindset. Another P for product, continuously building and iterating on innovative services, not just static products. And M for money, managing financial resources effectively to fuel all this ongoing activity and growth.
People, product, money supporting, PAD. Okay.
But the most critical aspect of the PDA model isn't just listing these parts, it's the emphasis on cross-functional coordination.
Breaking down the silos we talked about.
Exactly. If there's a problem during customer deployment, the D, you don't just point fingers at the professional services team. In a PD culture, you ask everyone involved, sales, product, support, finance, what insights they have, what went wrong, how can we fix it?
So it fosters shared ownership of the customer success.
That's the key. Institutional knowledge gets shared, problems get solved faster, and every employee feels a direct connection to keeping that subscriber successful and happy. This integrated culture is what allows a company to stay sharp, learn quickly, and find that continuous, sustainable growth.
Okay, this all sounds great conceptually, but what about the hard numbers? Is there data showing this shift is actually, working better than the old model?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the Subscription Economy Index, or SEI, comes in. Zuora aggregates real but anonymized data from hundreds of companies using their platform across various sectors.
And what does it show?
Well, the picture it paints is pretty compelling. Between 2012 and 2017, the companies in the index, these subscription businesses, grew revenues 8 times faster than the S&P 500 average.
8 times faster, wow.
And 5 times faster than U.S. retail sales over the same period. So yes, quantitatively, the growth is definitely there.
That's significant. So what drives that explosive growth, according to the index? What are the main levers?
It really boils down to 2 primary levers. First is average revenue per account, ARPA, getting more revenue from each existing customer.
Through upselling, cross-selling, price increases.
Exactly. And the second lever is net account growth, simply acquiring more new customers than you lose to churn.
Okay, ARPA and net account growth. Do companies focus on one more than the other?
What's interesting is that companies often switch their focus. They might prioritize rapid new account acquisition for a while, maybe using aggressive introductory pricing. Then, once they have a solid base, they might shift focus to driving up ARPA through upselling, adding new features, or maybe introducing usage-based components.
So it reflects a flexible, iterative approach to growth strategy and pricing.
Very much so. And speaking of usage-based, what's particularly compelling from the latest SEI data is the power of usage-based billing.
Paying only for what you use, like electricity or data.
Exactly. The data show that companies incorporating even a small amount of usage-based billing, like less than 10% of their total revenue, came from usage. Those companies grew more than twice as fast as companies with purely fixed, recurring subscriptions. We're talking an average annual growth rate of 31% versus 13%.
Wow. Twice as fast just by adding a small usage component. Why?
It seems to align incentives better. Customers feel it's fairer because they only pay for what they consume, and it allows the company's revenue to grow naturally as the customer finds more value and uses the service more.
And did it affect churn?
Significantly. Those companies with some usage-based billing also experienced much lower churn rates, 26% average churn versus 37% for the non-usage companies.
So customers like it, they stay longer, and the companies grow faster. Seems like a win-win.
The data strongly suggests that, yes, it demonstrates that customers really do value that transparency and flexibility of paying for usage, at least in part. Hashtag tag outro.
Okay, wow. We've really unpacked a massive shift today. Moving from companies just focused on selling, static products one time.
To businesses built on creating dynamic, ongoing relationships with subscribers.
It's fundamentally about favoring access over ownership, delivering services rather than just goods.
And it requires this profound rewiring of basically every single department.
Right.
From marketing and sales to finance and IT, culture change is huge.
Yeah. And broadening our perspective, this deep dive really illustrates how businesses are just rapidly evolving to understand and serve their customers on a much deeper, more continuous level.
And it's crucial to remember this knowledge isn't just for tech startups in Silicon Valley anymore. It's truly transforming virtually every sector of the modern economy. Retail, media, transport, even heavy manufacturing, as we saw.
So thinking about the actionable takeaway from all this for you listening, the world is clearly becoming a place where you can tap into services for almost everything you need. That offers incredible freedom and flexibility.
It really does.
So maybe the question to ponder is, where do you see the next big opportunity for a subscription popping up, either in your own daily life or perhaps even within your own industry? What service is waiting to be unlocked that could fundamentally change how value is delivered?
That's a great question to leave people with. Where's the next subscription wave going to hit?
Factoring can provide the working capital businesses need to thrive in an era of tight credit standards. Contact Chris of Versant Funding to learn if your client is a factoring fit.